This is a video to explain how to do two-step equations. Now whenever I do two-step equations, the first thing I like to do is come up with a game plan on how I'm going to solve that equation. And after I come up with the game plan, then I'm going to follow those steps to solve the problem. Let's look at how I do that with this first problem. The problem is negative 5x minus 12 is equal to 43. So if I'm doing this problem, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, what am I doing to x? Well, in this problem, the first thing I do to x is I multiply it by negative 5, and the second thing I'm going to do to x is subtract 12. So let's put both of those things down under what am I doing to x. I'm multiplying by negative 5, and then I'm subtracting 12. After I do that, I've got to figure out how I'm going to undo each of those steps. How do I undo it, is what I put down over here. Well, to undo subtracting 12, I'm just going to add 12. And to undo multiplying by negative 5, I'm just going to divide by negative 5. Now when I solve a two-step equation, I'm going to go the opposite of order of operation. So what that means is I'm going to start here at the bottom, and I'm going to work my way up to the top. So I'm going to first add 12 to both sides, and then divide both sides by negative 5. Let me show you how that works in this problem. Now the first thing I do when I solve a two-step problem and I do the work for it is I actually draw my fence. The fence tells me whatever I do on one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation also. The first thing I did is add 12 to both sides because that was what my game plan told me to do. So I'm going to add 12 to both sides, and then I'm going to see what I have left after I do that. Well, if I have positive and negative 12, that just makes 0. So I'm going to be just left with negative 5x on the left-hand side of the equation. On the right-hand side of the equation, I have 43 and 12. When I combine those, I'm going to have positive 55. So now I've done the add 12 part of my game plan. The next thing I have to do is I have to divide by negative 5. So I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by negative 5. And I know I have to do it to both sides because my fence reminds me whatever I do to one side of the equation, to keep it balanced, I have to do to the other side of the equation. Well, negative 5 divided by negative 5 is just 1. So on the left side of the equation, I'm going to be left with x. And on the right side of the equation, if I have 55 divided by negative 5, I get 11, and since the signs are different, I'm going to get negative 11. So the answer for this problem is going to be x is equal to negative 11.